On this episode of Sailing with Terrapin, we sail into the northern sea of the Sea of Cortez. First stop on our list, Punta Chivato, in search of whale sharks. Punta Chivato really doesn't offer too much. There's an old abandoned hotel that you can see. There's a few cantinas that are listed in the guidebook, which we never found. And unfortunately, we didn't see one whale shark. However, it has an awesome shelling beach where you can stand literally on piles and piles of shells. So for that, I guess it's alright. In addition to the awesome shelling at Punta Chivato, one of the highlights is to hike back towards a dirt runway where you can watch private planes land and take off all day. It's pretty fun. One of our favorite spots is Sweet Pea Cove off Isla San Marcos, directly across from Santa Rosalia. If you're sailing north, you'll notice that at the southern tip of Isla San Marcos, there's a gypsum mine which serves as nothing more than a complete eyesore. North of the gypsum mine, you'll arrive at Sweet Pea Cove, a wonderful cove to swim, snorkel, and on occasion, get some spearfishing lessons from your father. If you're into hiking and want a great vantage point, find the fish camp at Sweet Pea Cove and hike up. From there, you'll have a fantastic view of sunsets, whales going by, and the huge pod of dolphins that visit almost nightly. What do you get when you add a whisker pole and a fender? Boat shenanigans, also known as Mom and Dad aren't really into homeschool today. Across the way from Sweet Pea Cove is Santa Rosalia, a cute little town that offers various restaurants, shops, things to see, and is one of the last places to provision heavy before heading even farther north into the Sea of Cortez. What they're famous for, besides their hot dogs, is a steel-constructed church by Gustave Eiffel. Yep, the same Eiffel as you'd find in Paris. Did I mention hot dogs? The Choitas hot dog stand has sat at the southern side of the church in the middle of town for over 30 years. Ask anyone in town and they'll be able to point you in the right direction. You don't even have to like hot dogs to fall in love with these bacon-wrapped grilled hot dogs served on like this Hawaiian soft bun with the works.
Show me your hot dog.
It truly is love at first bite. There's no way you can get away out of town with only eating one.
Look at that. Look at that.
After provisioning heavy and stuffing ourselves to the gills with hot dogs, it was time to head north again to Bahia San Francisquito. We've hiked all over the Sea of Cortez, and this bay is definitely in our top 3. Awesome little caves, sandstone, and we even found what appeared to be petrified shells. Really cool place to hike.
Look at the clam. It's still together.
It's crazy to find all these seashells.
Sailing in and around Bahia San Francisquito, we noticed what appeared to be white bleached out logs along the shoreline. Seemed to be a lot of them as well. We hopped in our dinghy to get a closer look, and sure enough, it were piles and piles of whale bones, something that you'll see a lot more of the farther north you go into the Sea of Cortez. We had the bright idea that whale bones would serve as an awesome memento and gathered up a few of our favorites. Then we caught wind of all the penalties we might endure if we were to get caught with them, so we took a quick picture and then overboard they went. You'll definitely want to take your dinghy into Cala San Francisquito and then walk towards the airstrip for a cold beer and some awesome whale watching. Definitely worth the trip. If you continue to sail north, you'll definitely want to check out Las Animas Slot. It's a gorgeous cove just big enough for one boat. Sailing further north into Bahia de las Animas, you'll come to Punta El Alacran. One of our favorite things there was the Las Animas Wilderness Retreat, where you can rent a yurt for the night, maybe stay for a week. But that's it. There's really nothing else out there.
Nothing to do with us.
In the southern part of Puerto Don Juan is the Careening Beach, where if you're not afraid to take on a few coyotes, you should go check out the fishing boat that ran aground.
Pulgas? It's like I don't really want to leave.
That's a lazy coyote. This is going to be interesting.
After chilling out with some coyotes in Don Juan, it was time to head to LA Bay. Something to think about while sailing the Northern Sea is tidal range. One moment it'll look like this, and in less than an hour, all rocks. You got to be careful when dropping your anchor. Something else is the outgoing tide. You can suddenly go from 6 knots down to 2. And everyone's personal favorite while sailing the Sea of Cortez is the wind that can't decide to make up its mind. Are we coming from the east? No, the south, maybe the west. Your guess is as good as mine. We had finally made it to the Bay of LA, and we're sorely disappointed. If you're looking for cell service, it doesn't live here. How about a great grocery store? Nope, not even an ATM. You better be prepared before heading into the Bay of LA. The good news, lots of people from California come to fish here, and they're not afraid to share their bounty. We had sashimi and tuna steaks for days. It was amazing. During the summer, the whale sharks love to hang out in LA Bay. Unfortunately, we were a little too early.
So let's see.
Grab him by the back legs.
Let's see what you got. Dang.
Looks like a blue crab. It's a little smaller.
He's big though.
Yeah.
I don't think I would touch. This estuary is just chock full.
I know. I wish I had a chicken neck.
A chicken neck. That's all we need. A chicken neck.
Catch a bunch of these.
Oh, Jesus.
I need them.
Yeah.
In the Bay of LA, we met up with our great friends on Liahona and decided to sail east towards Isla Tiburon together. With not much happening in the Sea of Cortez as far as wind or any excitement, we decided to create our own excitement. Don't try this at home, kids. We are pseudo-professionals.
Emma, we just high five. That was cool. That made me.
With Liahona sailing in front of us towards Isla Tiburon, they hailed us with a major announcement.
We are feverishly bringing in our hand lines. Jess, why so?
Because there's a dead whale out there. We don't want to snag our lines on him. He's pretty big. And if we did, we'd have to cut our lines and it'd just be horrible.
Yeah.
There's also sharks I have too.
So yeah, somewhere in front of us is a large dead whale. Morbid curiosity has got the best of us.
Thankfully, it's not every day that you sail upon a deceased humpback whale. While it was quite grotesque, especially sailing downwind from him, it did serve as like National Geographic right in front of our daughter's eyes. They were intrigued and wanted to talk about the possible ways that maybe he had come to his death. They were also intrigued at all the various animals that were feeding off of him, in particular, the sharks that we saw.
Oh geez. Oh, and there's the sharks.
Yeah, you see his fin?
Yeah, he's a big, that's a pretty sizable shark.
Sailing upon this whale and witnessing the sharks feeding on him was like a science class coming to life. Not but an hour after witnessing sharks eating a whale and dropping anchor at Isla Tiburon, Crazy Jessica hops in. What happens when the wind is blowing from the north on a nice hot summer day and you decided to anchor at the south end of an island? Cool days, like when it gets down to 111 degrees. If you happen to make it to the gorgeous yet desolate island of Isla Tiburon, be sure to get off your boat and go for a few hikes. Don't be surprised, however, if you come across various deer. Kind of odd, but yes, there were lots of deer on this little tiny island. And be sure to let us know if you still see terrapin spelled out in shells. After the mid-drift islands, it was a quick trip to Bahia Quino to load up on some groceries and then sailed south towards Las Cocinas. Las Cocinas is one of our favorite anchorages, even when you get trapped on your boat in excess of 5 days thanks to the 35-knot winds. We did, however, manage to get off the boat for a few hikes. Las Cocinas has got to be one of the most picturesque spots in all of the Sea of Cortez. Our next and final stop was Guaymas, where we would put the boat to bed for the next 7 months. With the 2016 sailing season coming to a close, we dropped anchor in Bahia Bocochipampo near Guaymas. For our last few days, we reminisced about all the great times we had just had sailing another season in the Sea of Cortez, and how thankful we were that we chose not to go to Panama.
All right, there it goes. Last sunset of the season. Not a bad place to be, kids. All right, so who's excited it's over? Anyone? Anyone? Sad faces? Aww. Sorry, kids. Murph? Murph? All right, well, he's taking a nap. All right.
He's too depressed, Steve.
He's too depressed to even care right now. All right, kids. Till next season. Terrapin signing off.
If ever you get the chance to sail the Pacific side of Mexico, please don't skip the Sea of Cortez. I've yet to meet anyone that said that they didn't care for the Sea of Cortez. In fact, if you've ever met anyone that sailed the Sea of Cortez, they've either absolutely loved it or, well, they're still sailing the Sea of Cortez. It's an amazing place with an amazing ecosystem both in and out of the water. Be sure to catch up with Sailing with Terrapin in 2017 as we take on the Pacific Pedal Jump. We will sail from Mexico to French Polynesia. You can always find Sailing with Terrapin on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.